Hey friends, this week we are talking about being afraid and alone. And our scripture comes from Joshua chapters 1 and 2, where we get to see two totally different people, Joshua and Rahab. Two people who, even though they're surrounded by other people all the time, they still feel very alone. I love this passage because God continues to say over and over and over, don't be afraid, be strong and courageous, because wherever you go, wherever you are, I will go with you. Joshua inherits this incredible problem. Even though he's in a position of leadership, he has to be the guy who follows Moses. Moses has died, and Moses could not convince the Israelites to go into the promised land. They were afraid because they sent spies in who then reported back that the cities were fortified and the people were gigantic. There was no way the Israelites could ever withstand and beat back all those other people, even though they had seen God work miracles, even though they knew that God would be with them. They were too afraid to go into the promised land. And so that whole generation spends the rest of their time wandering in the desert, and they never get to see the promises that God has in store for them in this new place. But the next generation, their children, they arrive and they get to the very same spot, and God says to them, are you up for it? Do you want to go into the promised land? And with a resounding shout, they say, yes, we want to go in. And so Joshua, he has to fill in Moses' shoes. He has to lead the Israelites. And it's a scary position to be in because they've only ever known Moses to be their leader. And Joshua is untried. He's untested. And God knows this. And God has a gentle, a kind, sensitive heart. He says, look, be strong and courageous. I will be with you wherever you are. I'm going to go along with you. And so Joshua sends a couple of spies into the first city that they are going to overtake. It's the city of Jericho. Meanwhile, there is a woman in the city of Jericho. Her name is Rahab, an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, a well-to-do person. She happens to be a prostitute, and her home is situated in that fortified wall, and it overlooks the whole city. So Joshua sends these two spies in to do some reconnaissance, to look at the layout of the city. So where can they go? They go to Rahab's house, and they look over the entire city, but they are so different in their appearance, in their dress, in their language, everything about them, that people quickly pick up that these are foreigners. Not just any foreigners, they're Israelites. And so these two guys, while they're at Rahab's house, the king hears about this, and he sends his soldiers and he sends word to Rahab and says, I understand these two Israelites are with you, and I need to arrest them. And Rahab, she's so slick, so quick. She says, oh, they were here, but they've left. But if you take off towards the Jordan River, you will catch them. Go quickly. And so the soldiers, they go just as she directs them. But she's hidden these two Israelite spies on her rooftop. And she marches up there and she says to them, look, I know who you are. I've heard about you. I know about your God. And when we heard that you were coming our way, our hearts melted like wax. We heard about how your God has taken care of you, how he's protected you and provided for you. Now, promise me that your God can be my God, that my whole family will be adopted into your family. They're not in a position to negotiate or to bargain with her. They are held hostage on her rooftop. And they swear an oath to her. They say, our lives for your life and your whole family. We promise that when we come to Jericho, we will not harm anyone in your household. Only let us go in safety. And so they strike a bargain. She holds the nation of Israel hostage on her roof because she so badly wants to have God in her life. I love this woman. My heart goes out to her. How I would love to have a whole church full of Rahabs and Joshuas. Two people who are standing on the precipice of a monumental time in history. and they have the courage and the strength to seize the opportunity to go where God is leading them. Rahab chooses God for herself. And Christians, we know what that's like. Some of us, we weren't ever brought up in church, or we were asked at confirmation to choose God for ourselves, not just because our family wanted that for us, but because we wanted it. Rahab has a heart after God. And more than anything, she wants to be in God's family and to have his protection over her. Not just her, but her whole family. Joshua, in the meantime, he truly believes that God will protect him. And so he brings the Israelites to the city of Jericho, that fortified city that all the people for so many years were so afraid to go into. And they don't have to lift an arm. They march around the city, they blow their trumpets, and the walls come crumbling down. They march into the city and they take it for themselves. They take it. And they spare Rahab. They keep her and her whole family safe, true to their word. Whatever situation you find you're in, whether you feel alone even though you're surrounded by people, whether you are standing on the edge of a gigantic promise that you feel like God is leading you towards, be strong and be courageous. Follow God into the land that he is taking you into, because he will go wherever you are. Only trust in him. God bless you.